Percy takes charge. "Bother! It's starting to snow," rumbled Thomas. Yes, winter was on its way to the island of Sodor, and the engine thinks it's going to be a hard one this year. There is a lot of snow to help block the lines, and they all have to work hard clearing it off. And there's a lot of goods and passengers when the roads are closed by deep snow. One morning the Fat Controller came to the sheds. "We've all got to get the island moving again," he said to the engines. "You've all got really important jobs to do because all the roads are blocked because of the snow." And all the engines set off to work, all except Percy. "I've got a very important job for you," said the Fat Controller. "I need you to make sure everyone is working safely, because this weather can bring icy conditions." So Percy set off to work, keeping an eye on any engine who was working safely. As he stopped by a signal, Gordon whooshed past him with the express. "Slow down, Gordon!" called Percy, but Gordon didn't hear him. Gordon stopped at Knapford Station to pick up some passengers. Percy pulled in next to him. "You need to reduce your speed in weather like this," said Percy, "otherwise you might slide off the rails." Gordon was cross. "I don't mean to tell him what to do by a small engine like you," he huffed. "I'm just doing my job. Passengers are too important to be late." Later, Percy was having a drink at the water tower when Toby pulled up next to him. "Have you remembered to fill up with water?" Percy asked Toby. "Yes," replied Toby. "I did that first thing this morning." "That's okay then," said Percy, "because your tank doesn't hold much water and you don't want to run out in steam in weather like this." "That's good advice, Percy," said Toby, "but don't you worry. I'll be all right and I will work safely." And then Toby puffed away. A little while later, Percy went to the quarry to collect his trucks. He met Thomas and Edward there. "I hope you remember to fill up with coal," Percy said to them. "It'll be terrible running out the steam in weather like this." "Don't you worry, Percy," said Thomas. "We've remembered to fill up with coal just as soon as we got here," said Edward. "That's okay then," said Percy. And then he set off. "Wait!" called Mavis. "Don't forget your trucks." "Thank you," said Percy. Bill and Ben shunted the trucks behind Percy. "Bill, Ben," advised Percy. "No silly games in weather like this, otherwise there might be an accident." "We won't," said the twins, and then Percy set off once again. As Percy was making his back along the line, he saw Henry with his goods train. "Don't go up any steep hills," Percy called to Henry, "otherwise you might be pushed down the hill in weather like this." "Thank you, Percy," called Henry. Then he saw James. "Don't go too fast," Percy called to James. "It's dangerous speeding in icy conditions." James was cross. "I'm just doing my job," he boasted. That made Percy very cross. "Why isn't anyone listening to me?" he thought. "The Fat Controller did ask me to keep everyone safe." He was so busy thinking about it, he didn't notice the signal he went past telling him to stop. And he didn't see the goods train ahead of him. Until it was too late. Luckily, nobody was hurt, but Percy came off the rails, and sticky rice pudding squelched right over him. Duck came with the breakdown train to rescue Percy. The Fat Controller was on board. "I'm sorry, sir," said Percy. "I was so busy worrying about everyone not keeping safe, I didn't realise I wasn't keeping safe either." "It wasn't your fault, Percy," said the Fat Controller. "You have been giving all my engines good advices on how to keep safe, and most of them listened to you." "But Gordon and James didn't," said Percy. "Don't you worry," said the Fat Controller. "I told them that they weren't taking your advice, nor keeping safe." Soon the line was clear, and Duck took Percy to the fitters' yard. Percy had to stay at the fitters' yard for a very, very long time. It was hard work getting the sticky rice pudding off him. But Thomas, Edward and Toby took over by running his line. That evening the engines went back to the sheds. "I'm starting to miss Percy," said Thomas. "Me too," said Toby. "He has helped us all day to keep us safe." "And you two haven't been very helpful when you didn't listen to his advice," Duck said crossly to Gordon and James. "That's right," agreed Edward. "Thanks to you, he's got himself into a bit of a pickle." Gordon was very annoyed with himself. So annoyed, in fact, he's thinking about not agreeing with other engines for good advices. But that's another story.